When I think about this situation, an analogy always occurs to me. Imagine that we're somewhere in, let's say, the 14th century, trying to understand life, the life of plants. A plant is a living thing. And we ask ourselves, could it possibly be that life could be explained in material terms? It's going to seem very mysterious to us. How could it be? When we think of the kinds of examples of material machines that we've got available to us in the 14th century, I try to imagine what would somebody in the 14th century think to himself or herself when he entertains the possibility that a plant might just be a machine. And then I have this little image of some plant made out of gears, right? And the gears begin turning, and the bud opens, and the person's just going to say, my God, that wouldn't be alive. So it's pretty obvious that no machine could be alive. No material object could be alive. In order to explain life, we have to appeal to something more than just atoms. Well, he didn't have atoms, but more than just matter. Life requires something immaterial above and beyond matter to explain it. That would have been an understandable position to come to in the 14th century, but it would have been wrong. We didn't have a clue back then how to explain life in material terms, but that didn't mean it couldn't be done. I'm inclined to think the same thing's true right now for us and consciousness. I know there are theories out there, but my best take is we're pretty much like in the 14th century. We don't really have a clue yet, or not much of a clue, as to how you could even so much as begin to. It's not that merely that we don't have the details worked out. We don't even have the picture in broad strokes as far as consciousness is concerned, of how it could be done in physical terms. But not seeing how it's possible is not the same thing as seeing that it's impossible. If the dualist comes and says, can't you just see that it's not remotely possible, it's not conceivably possible for a purely physical object to have experiences, to have qualia, what I want to say is, no, I don't see that it's impossible. I admit I don't see how to do it, but I don't see that it's impossible. So I don't feel forced to posit the existence of a soul. Of course, the fan of the soul could come back and say, but that's not fair. The question isn't, is this explanation impossible? The question is just, who's got the better explanation? You guys can't offer any kind of explanation at all yet. I can offer an explanation. How is consciousness possible? We have souls. Souls are really very different from physical objects, and so they can be conscious. But at this point, I think it's crucial to remember the point that it's not just the question, who's got an explanation, but who's got the better explanation. And before we say that the soul view's got the better explanation, we have to ask ourselves, just how much of an explanation is it to say, oh, I can explain consciousness. Consciousness is housed not in the body, but in the soul. Okay? How exactly is it that a soul can be conscious, we ask. And then the soul theorist says, well, it just can. That's not really much of an explanation. I don't feel I've got any sort of account going here as to how consciousness works, even if I become a dualist.